Welcome to the Explainer. So if you've ever felt completely lost at the end of a hand of gin rummy while your opponent is just rapidly tallying up their points, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to dive straight into demystifying all the complex math behind the game so you can finally play with total confidence.
Picture this, right? You're holding what looks like a fantastic hand. You confidently end the round, fully expecting a massive payout, only to watch in absolute horror as your opponent just smiles, lays down their cards, quote-unquote undercuts you, and steals literally all the points, plus a massive bonus. It's incredibly frustrating. Well, by the end of this explainer, you're going to understand exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how to make sure you're the one pulling off that ambush.
Okay, here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll cover Part 1, melds, deadwood, and card values. Part 2, ending the round. Part 3, knock scoring. Part 4, undercuts and gin. Part 5, match bonuses. And we'll wrap up with Part 6, some pro tips. Let's get right to it. Starting with Section 1, melds, deadwood, and card values. So, your primary objective with your 10-card hand is to organize the cards into valid, point-protecting combinations. These are called melds, and there are two types to look for. First, you've got sets, which are 3 or 4 cards of the exact same rank. Think 3 eights, or maybe 4 queens. Then you have runs, which are 3 or more cards in sequential order of the exact same suit, like the 5, 6, and 7 of hearts. Oh, and a quick note here. Aces are always low, so you definitely can't wrap an ace around a king. Basically, melds are your safe haven. Cards securely inside a meld do not count against you. But here's the catch. You've really got to watch out for your true enemy in this game, which is your deadwood. Deadwood simply refers to any unmatched cards in your hand that aren't part of a valid meld. Remember, each card can only belong to one meld. So whatever is left over, just hanging out all alone in your hand, yep, that's your deadwood. And these unmatched cards are exactly what will cost you points when the round comes to a close. To understand exactly how much danger your deadwood poses, we have to look at the math. Aces? They're a really minimal penalty at just 1 point. Number cards, from 2 all the way through 10, are just worth their face value. So a 5 simply costs you 5 points. But take a look at those face cards. Jacks, queens, and kings carry a massive penalty of 10 points each. This little breakdown right here shows exactly why holding on to high-value, unmatched face cards is such a massive strategic risk. You've got to manage them really carefully. All right, let's move on to Section 2, ending the round. Rounds don't just end magically on their own, you know? A player actually has to choose to end it. And there are basically 2 ways you can pull this off. The first is called knocking. You are legally allowed to knock only if the total point value of your deadwood is 10 or less. The second, and honestly much more powerful way, is going gin. This is the dream scenario, the perfect hand. It means you end the round with exactly 0 points of deadwood because every single card you're holding fits neatly into a valid meld. Let's zoom in on knocking for a second. When it's your turn, you draw a card, and if your remaining deadwood is 10 points or below, you can choose to knock. You just discard your final card face down onto the pile. Boom. That completely halts the gameplay. Both you and your opponent must now immediately lay your cards face up on the table, and you separate your safe melds from your deadwood so we can get to the final evaluation. Which brings us to Section 3, knock scoring. Okay, so someone just knocked. What happens next? Well, here is the exact step-by-step procedure. Step 1, both players reveal their hands. Step 2, the defending player, meaning the person who didn't knock, gets a very special opportunity called laying off cards. And then finally, Step 3, we calculate the difference between the 2 deadwood scores. Now, Step 2 is honestly where a lot of beginners get entirely confused, so let's clear it up. Laying off is a crucial defensive mechanism. The defending player is allowed to take their unmatched deadwood cards and literally add them to the knocker's existing melds. So let's say the knocker has a set of 3 kings, right? And the defender has the 4th king just sitting in their hand as deadwood. The defender can lay it off onto that set. Just like that, they magically erased 10 points of penalty from their hand. The knocker, however, doesn't get to do this. They can never lay off their own cards. And here is how that final math shakes out. After all the defensive layoffs are completely done, you compare the final deadwood counts. If the knocker has a lower deadwood count than the defender, the knocker wins the hand. The score they get is simply the difference between the 2 numbers. So for example, if the knocker has 3 points of deadwood left and the opponent is stuck with 21 points of deadwood, the knocker scores 18 points. It's pretty straightforward, right? But wait, what happens if the knocker doesn't have the lower score? That takes us to Section 4, undercuts and gin. Remember that absolute nightmare scenario we talked about at the very beginning? This is the dreaded undercut. If you knock, but after layoffs, the defender somehow manages to get their deadwood equal to or lower than yours, well, you've just been undercut. It is a total tactical disaster. The knocker scores absolutely 0 points. Meanwhile, the defender scores the difference in the deadwood points, plus a massive 25-point undercut bonus. Seriously, if you knock with 10 points and the defender has 5, they score the 5-point difference plus another 25 points. They walk away with 30, and you get absolutely nothing. Ouch.
But hey, what if you have the perfect hand? Going Jin is the ultimate offensive play. If you manage to form all 10 of your cards into melds, you've got 0 deadwood. When you knock and declare Jin, you get a cool 25-point Jin bonus plus all of your opponent's deadwood points. But the absolute best part of this? When you go Jin, your opponent is strictly forbidden from laying off any cards. They are stuck holding every single point of deadwood. And for sure, a player who goes Jin can never ever be undercut.
Up next is Section 5, Match Bonuses. You see, a game of Jin Rummy isn't over after just one hand. It's more of a marathon. Players accumulate points across multiple rounds until someone finally reaches a predetermined target match score, which is typically 100 points. The very first player to cross that 100-point threshold triggers the end of the game and gets awarded a massive 100-point game bonus. And the scoring doesn't even stop there. At the very end of the game, we also calculate consistency rewards. There's the box bonus, sometimes called a line bonus, which gives you 25 extra points for every single individual round you won during the match. This is huge. It actually means a player who wins a bunch of small hands can sometimes beat a player who rushed straight to 100. And if you completely dominate, like the loser fails to score even a single point across the entire match, that's a shutout. The winner's points for each hand are literally doubled before the box bonuses are even added. It is brutal. Let's wrap up with Section 6, Pro Tips. Let's run through a few quick things that'll save you from the usual beginner traps. First up, ignoring the layoff. When you decide to knock, you've got to look at your melds. If you lay down a really long run, like the 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of hearts, you're literally giving your opponent the 2 and the 8 as easy slots to just dump their deadwood. Second, overvaluing the late-game knock. If there are only a few cards left in the draw pile, trust me, your opponent's hand is probably very strong. Knocking with a weak 10 points late in a game is basically begging to be undercut. And finally, you have to track the discards. Always, always watch what your opponent picks up. Doing that turns a blind guess into a highly calculated risk. Now, before you run off to challenge your friends, I do have to give you a quick reminder. While this explainer gives you a really comprehensive overview of all the scoring mechanics, the truth is, practice and real game experience are absolutely key to mastering any card game. I mean, you can memorize all the math in the world, but actually reading the table, anticipating an undercut, and knowing the exact perfect moment to go for Jin, that only comes from sitting down and playing the game. So, what do you say? Are you ready to shuffle the deck, track those discards, and calculate your very first undercut? Go grab a friend, grab a deck of cards, and start putting all these scoring rules into action. You've got the knowledge now, so go out there and dominate the table. Thanks so much for joining us on this explainer, and happy melding.